Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg will announce who will operate the upcoming community care campus.
The project is set to provide much needed resources for those experiencing homelessness in the metro. Jim Stratman joins us live from Metro Hall with what we know about this project. And Jim, one thing we know is the city has had this in the works now for about a year.
Yeah, the process starting all the way back last January when everything was announced. The idea for the community care campus was announced and where it was going to be. So from there, we have had a lot that has come and gone now to get us to this point. We know that a request for proposals was put out there. Lots of organizations took those forms into consideration, but now we're down to just 3 companies who are in the running to take over the community care campus when it eventually is built and ready to be opened. Those companies are Norton Healthcare, Volunteers of America Midstate, and the Addiction Recovery Care. So later on today, we're going to find out which one of those will be announced as the proprietors or the company that will take over control of that community care campus. Now, it's going to be a big test for whichever organization ends up getting the go-ahead from the city. The campus itself is going to include family housing, medical space, and safe outdoor space, all on its campus located between Breckenridge Brook and College Streets. Now, each of these buildings purchased by the city for the project has its own needs when it comes to renovation. We saw some of that earlier this year, but officials have been optimistic about the project for quite a while. Mayor Greenberg said back in January that this project is in the perfect part of town to be a hub for organizations and those needing help.
Proximity to the downtown medical campus, the proximity to the other part of the block that the city already owns, that this would be the ideal location.
Now, earlier this year, the mayor also asked the state to help out with funding, asking for about $22 million in state funds to help get this project where it needs to be. Ultimately, the decision is set to be announced here at Metro Hall around 1 o'clock this afternoon. And when we do know which company has been named the company that will take over, we will, of course, bring that to you right here on WHAS11 and on our website, WHAS11.com. Eric, Grace.
All right, Jim, thank you. Another big question from yesterday morning has been answered. Federal prosecutors do intend to retry former LMPD officer Brent Hankinson. Nearly a month ago, a judge declared a mistrial. Hankinson is accused of violating the civil rights of Breonna Taylor the night she was killed. Getting this retrial going could take some time, though. WHAS11's senior reporter Isaiah Kim Martinez has the tentative date set by a federal judge.
Mistrial is not an acquittal.
They were the words of optimism from Lenita Baker, Breonna Taylor's family attorney, following a mistrial in the federal civil rights case against Brent Hankinson. That was November 16th. Now, nearly a month later, federal prosecutors telling Judge Rebecca Grady Jennings Wednesday they intend to try the former LMPD detective once more.
And it's the type of case that ultimately a jury needs to decide.
In a virtual status hearing with attorneys and Hankinson himself on the call, Judge Jennings voiced her desire to get a second trial going as soon as possible, discussing possibilities for June, July, or September of next year, but because of scheduling conflicts, a tentative date is set for October. Another major development, we learned Brent Hankinson is considering shaking up his defense team or hiring a new counsel altogether. That's according to his attorneys themselves. Nick Mudd is a former prosecutor with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office.
Certainly, it is very uncommon for attorneys to be switched out, especially in between trials.
He isn't associated with this case, but has provided us perspective.
I think it's fair to assume there had to be something that happened during the course of that last trial that he was not satisfied with or didn't think they pushed hard enough on.
Hankinson is charged with violating Taylor's civil rights and using excessive force when firing shots into her apartment and that of her neighbors during that overnight raid in 2020. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS11 on your side.
Now, attorneys are set to meet again virtually on January 24th. They'll then finalize Hankinson's defense team and decide next steps, including whether the retrial can happen sooner than next October.
More witnesses will take the stand today in the triple homicide trial of Bryce Rhodes. In court Wednesday, one of the teenagers already convicted of killing 2 teen boys in 2016 took the stand. Anwan Carter was 15 years old when the murders happened.
Who was he shooting at? somebody in the street. He's like he gonna violate him.
Christopher Jones was later identified as the man Carter was asked about. According to Carter, Rhodes found out teens Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon told their mother about Rhodes killing Jones. Carter also said Rhodes made the group of boys vote if Ordway and Gordon should die. Once they did vote, Rhodes is said to have stabbed the brothers and made everyone do the same. Court will reconvene later this morning.
This morning, Brooks Houck is in a different jail. Houck is the man accused of murdering Crystal Rogers. Yesterday afternoon, he was moved from the Hardin County Detention Center to Oldham County. Jail records show no new charges were added, and he remains in custody on that $10 million bond. It's not clear why he was moved to the jail, which houses both state and federal inmates awaiting trial.
Some drama playing out on social media overnight for U of L basketball. The team is now down a player, junior guard Corin Davis. Turns out he was dismissed from the team yesterday with no reason given. U of L originally released a statement saying Davis intended to transfer. He responded on social media saying he never asked to transfer and enjoys being a Cardinal. Then the university released a new statement which said Davis had been dismissed, and they'd only said he requested a transfer to help him out. Head coach Kenny Payne spoke on Davis's dismissal after last night's game.
You know, the statement is pretty plain. I don't want to really dwell in it. I care about the kid, and I wish him the best, and I think that's what we said in the statement. I'm not really trying to dwell in it. It's emotional for me, simply because he's a good kid, and you know, it's one of those circumstances, but we've already addressed it.
Davis hasn't played since the red-white scrimmage and hasn't been on the bench for several weeks. He was in the stands last night's game, but did politely decline to comment on the situation when our Mason Hordisky asked.